Welcome everyone to the first review I've done since I moved into my new spot. I think this will be my new videos for quite a few months. I'm quite happy with this. I hope the framing's nice. I hope this is a lot nicer just to look at in general. And we'll be looking at another Arrow release, which I've been doing a lot of recently since the 70s marathon, and I'm going to look at Cinema Paradiso. Now, this is a film that I have seen before. I watched it a few years ago. Absolutely love it. One of my favourite films, but I bought it maybe a year ago and I'm only getting around to revisiting it now. And I just watched it like 2 days ago and I just sort of thought, I'll stick this review up because what a beautiful, beautiful film. I forgot how wonderful it was. I think it hit me harder this time than it did last. There's so many themes in there. It's not just, the back of the cover says a celebration of youth, friendship, and the everlasting magic of the movies. It's that, but my screen just went black. But it's that and more. And for those that don't know, this is an Italian film from 1988 by a director. Let's see, I would try and say his name, Giuseppe Tornatore. I probably bastardized that name, but I tried, didn't I? But this is a great Italian film. It won Best Foreign Language Film in 1989 or 1990 for at the Oscars. And Cinema Paradiso, beautiful, beautiful film. So basically we've got this little kid called, his nickname's Toto, but his name's Salvatore, and he's young. He lives with his mother in this little small town in Sicily, and he's quite curious about cinema. We see him running into this Cinema Paradiso every now and again. He's fascinated by the screen, and he ends up making friends with Alfredo, who is, bit of glare there, Alfredo, who is the projectionist there. And from there, it stems this, like, at first it's like a father-son thing. Immediately you think, okay, there's a father absent, the father is off in a war, so obviously you immediately think, okay, this is going to be a father-son relationship, but I think it's a bit more than that. I'll get into that later. But basically the film looks at their relationship. He's curious about the cinema. Alfredo basically takes him under his wing, shows him how how a projectionist would work, and from there it just kind of follows his life. The film at the beginning is set up 30 years in the future, in the present day, and then the film is basically a flashback structure, but 90% of the film, but 70% of the film is set before the opening of the film. So we open to Salvatore. He is a successful filmmaker, and then he decides to revisit his old town that he hasn't seen in 30 years because of the death of Alfredo. It's not really a spoiler, it happens in the first 10 minutes. You hear about the death of Alfredo, and then we dig into what their relationship was. And I like it when a film does that. It's not scared to just straight up say, yes, there is a character that is eventually is gonna die, and because that's not really what's important. What's really important is the life that was lived in the film. So from there, I guess I can kind of dig into the film and hopefully not spoil too much of it. But Cinema Paradiso, I think, is probably a very great film if you're looking to dig into foreign cinema, because it really captures the magic of movies. It really does. It's a real love letter. I think that things like this and Day for Night are just absolute masterpieces at showing the magic of film and what it means. And you can tell straight away that this film comes from the heart. It comes from something very personal. Now, I haven't seen some of the special features on here, which will probably clarify that a bit more, but you can just feel it. You can really just see there's a lot of passion in there. I think one of the best things about it is how it's capturing cinema as this real magical place that can take you on journeys, but the most impressive thing the film does is it creates a parallel between life and the movies. It's pointed out by Alfredo and also Salvatore that life is not the movies. It's a lot different. Movies are more fantasy, and of course as the film goes on you realise it does tell a very poignant story of romance, but it's a very there's a classical Hollywood type of feel to the love at first sight, especially when Salvatore grows up a little and grows a love interest. But it's interesting to see it doing that, and also talking about the magic of cinema and how fantasy like it is, how it's not like the movies. But what I love about the film is it says sometimes life is like the movies, and that's why some movies exist to begin with. That's why some of the concepts even exist, because things happen in real life. While movies might heighten some things dramatically in some way, sometimes life is like the movies. I mean, there's plenty of times in my life I feel like I'm stuck in a movie. A lot of times things will happen to me and I'm just like, this is definitely a film scenario, you know? And I just love what the film does with that. It's very playful. It's a very funny film. It's a genuine smiles when you're watching this film. And I love it when a film can make you cry as hard as you laugh. And it really is a beautiful story of, you know, what you think is, I'm coming back to the point now of the father-son relationship, because it's almost like a respectful relationship, but also like an uncle and nephew kind of relationship, aside from being a father-son one. It's such a powerful, magical relationship, and it's hard not to just love those two characters. Alfredo was a real symbol of, you know, the wise man and the things that he teaches Salvatore. It's just so beautiful that they have that kind of relationship. And I love the cinematography. I love the music. I think the music definitely adds to some of the drama in the film, by Ennio Morricone. Probably pronounced his name wrong. I had trouble with that one in my top 50 70s films as well. Ennio Morricone. I hope that's right. But his music in this film is so classical, and almost, you could argue, it's a little bit forcible in the way it's done. I'm quite overexposed now. I'll have none of that in my video. Anyway. But it's very manipulative in the sense that the music's very heightened and makes things all dramatic, but I just love it. I think it works very well because the story and the relationships on screen are that strong. The music just reinforces it and really sets the mood for it. The film runs at 3 hours, 174 minutes, and that's the director's cut. The original theatrical cut was 124 minutes. I have not seen that version, and while the film is 3 hours long, it's not boring in the slightest. You know, the time disappears, and, you know, long films, you hope it's worth your time when they're over 2.5 hours. I'd say Paradiso is just one of the most beautiful films ever made. And then I'd like to get to a point, something that stuck out for me this time viewing it is, yes, this is a film about the magic of cinema. It's about a father-son type of relationship. It's about living life to its fullest, seeing what's out there, and also friendship, and basically friendship. But also, what I noticed was how it kind of digs into nostalgia and never to look back. Now, Ingmar Bergman's Some Wild Strawberries, I think as I grow older, it just becomes more and more relevant. And there was just something so profound in Cinema Paradiso whenever Salvatore revisits his old town, having not seen it 30 years. You know, Alfredo gives him a big speech at one part in the film about, you know, don't look back, don't come back, nostalgia will kill you, keep looking ahead. And it just really struck me. I mean, it's such a powerful idea because nostalgia will kill you, and I know what it's like to be in places that you feel like you're not going to see again. And there's something very deeply, maybe it's just me, but there's something very deeply emotional and poignant about things, and you can become very sentimental about things, you know, like, for instance, like this mug has been to every university I've been to so far. I always have this mug with me, you know, and I took it to America when I studied for a year there. You know, little things like that. There's a moment in, you know, it's just the way it's shot. There's a scene when he comes back to the old cinema, and he goes in and he's walking around, and you can see all the dust and the cobwebs, and you get a real sense of how old it is and it's being shut down. And, you know, he's touching things, and you can see the memories coming back to him. And there's just something so beautiful about that, because there's plenty of places that I haven't seen in a few years, or, you know, maybe a decade, and you come back to it and those memories flood back to you. And I know what it feels like to cling on to the past, because it'll kill you. It'll absolutely kill you. You just need to do your best to look ahead, because, you know, you can't just sit and reminisce forever in the past. It's nice to remember the past, but try to remember the future, because you'll just sit there and be depressed. And I know the feeling so much now that I've come back from my wonderful year in Montana. You know, I miss a lot of the people that I met out there, and just the overall experience. You know, it was a very emotional time for me when I had to leave. You know, there was many tears, and it was the idea that, you know, I'm maybe going off tangent, but getting into that idea of nostalgia and not looking back. Whenever I was leaving, I was going to get, I was getting a ride to the airport, and, you know, I was looking at the window and just thinking I'm not going to see all this stuff ever again. And there's just something very poignant about that. And I feel like Cinema Paradiso has those ideas right there, and it tells it in such a wonderful way. The way everything's shot, the way the camera moves, the way the characters interact with the scene. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Cinema Paradiso, everyone, is just an absolute masterpiece, and I really loved it this time around, just so much more. And in terms of the Arrow release, quality is fantastic. The first time I saw it was on a download, and I know there's lots of special features in this. It's a newly restored cut, 5.1 audio. There's a 52-minute documentary with the director, which I would love to see. A 27-minute documentary on the making, and also the trailer. And then there's the booklet. This is the cover. I love the art. I love the artwork in this actually as well. I love this picture. For some reason that picture, I look at it and think that looks so real. It looks like these people were real. That's it. You got director's cut and all the special features in that disc, and then theatrical cut here. And then you have this little booklet that has essays in it on the film. Yeah, it's got like some nice images. I haven't actually looked at this myself. There's obviously a behind the scenes shot, but absolutely wonderful release from Arrow. I mean, you can't be disappointed with things like Masters of Cinema and Arrow. They just put so much into their releases. Cinema Paradiso is probably one of my favourites, just because it's such a masterpiece of a film. Definitely go out there, everybody, and check this one out if you haven't, especially if you love movies and you're looking to watch more foreign films, because it's one of them ones I can see myself revisiting again and again, because it's just such a beautiful film. It's emotional and it's funny, and it's a real celebration of life itself. And as cheesy as that always sounds when you say that statement, I think this film just gets it right so well. Things like nostalgia and friendship. But I mean, I'm just rambling and repeating things now. So overall, Cinema Paradiso, one of my favourite films, and I'm glad I got to just kind of talk about it in a general sense. So yeah, that's it everyone. If you like the film, let me know what you think below, and thanks everyone for watching. But stay tuned for the horror marathon, which there most certainly will be. More on that later. Till then, everyone, see you next time.